What wrong decision keeps you up at night? I was 14 when Ms. Thompson from the Career Center told me about a summer hospitality job. It paid $900 a week in cash, and all you had to do was move across the country by yourself and sleep in a warehouse with 40 other girls, all sleeping on mattresses on the floor. Well, it was a no-brainer, because at the time my mom had cancer, and we needed money bad. The first red flag came at the airport when I met a lot of the girls for the first time, because we all had one thing in common: trauma. Stephanie was recently orphaned and needed the money for her little brother. Lily was a child of a single father who also had cancer. One way or another, we all had some sort of unexpected situation that left us desperate for money. Go figure. The plane ride to Texas was only 4 hours, but the drive afterwards was 3. I stared out the window as we drove further and further away from civilization, and the first thing they did when we got there was take our phones and passports. I felt fear settle into my stomach, but then I thought of my mom lying on a bed with stage 3 leukemia, crying while eating nothing but a few tablespoons of soup every day. So I shook it off and just focused on what the lady was saying. She said we owed them for transport and housing, but we'd work it off. I still wasn't sure what we'd be doing. I expected to be some sort of caller or maybe a cleaner. Boy, was I wrong. At 8 p.m., Mr. Lee told us to look pretty. The older girls did the makeup for the younger ones. It was my first time wearing first-hand clothing. Butterflies filled my stomach. I had always wanted to be a model, and now it was really happening, or so I thought. At 9:45 p.m., we were all separated into groups based on age, race, and body type. And by the time the men came in at 10 p.m. sharp, we were all lined up against the wall, wearing nothing but undergarments, heels, and a heavy face of makeup. They were all around 30 or 40, wearing expensive suits. Greediness flooded their eyes. Then it happened. One of them pointed at me. I froze, and he picked me up with a smirk on his face. He then proceeded to steal my innocence, over and over. I cried myself to sleep that night. Everything in me was hurting. I thought of my mom again, and just hoped that my job would be enough for her to get better. The next morning, they told me I earned $50 but owed $200 for the clothes and makeup. That's when I understood we'd never make enough to leave. I was picked by them every single night. My life became gray and meaningless. After 2 weeks, they offered us bags of snow to lift our spirits. But really, I knew they were just trying to make us substance dependent, less resistance that way. I never said yes, and I never talked to any of the girls. I thought if I got attached, then it would make things worse. But after 2 months of living as a mute, I finally met Mika. Small brown eyes, always wore her hair in a bun, very pale skin. She was 16 and had been there 2 years already. She told me I reminded her of her little sister and promised to protect me. Soon, Mika became my lifeline. She taught me to hide money in my shoe lining and which guards to avoid. She showed me the weak spot in the fence behind the dumpsters where the metal was rusted through. We started planning. Mika had been counting guard rotations for months. Every third Tuesday, the overnight guard drank himself unconscious by 3 a.m. We saved stolen bills for bus tickets. Mika said she'd rather die trying to escape than live another year there. And after 6 months, everything changed. I was fast asleep on the cold floor when I heard gunfire. Mika grabbed my hand and said this was our only chance. We ran through the main room where bodies were already dropping, made it to the fence. She boosted me up first, and just as I was tasting freedom, I heard a gasp. I turned around to see Mika's stomach pouring with red. I tried to climb back down, but she screamed at me to go. Another bullet hit the fence by my head. I left her lying in the dirt. I hid until dawn, then walked to a police station. The officer made a call while I talked, but then I saw it. A barcode on his right upper arm. That's when I knew he was one of them. Full story on channel, linked below.